Hi everyone, it's Jennifer Trask, and we're here to discuss day 4, A Date with Destiny. And in this day, it was relationship day. Now, so much happened during this day. It was my favorite day. I love, to learn about relationships because it's really just learning about people. And this will benefit you no matter if you're gay or straight, doesn't matter, because it's about masculine and feminine energy. And I can't remember. I think Tony must have said this during the day, but I've heard this before as well, and I thought it was good enough, a good enough point to actually say again. But one of the most important things is to remember that if you could on a relationship, if you could focus more on being happy than being right, then you are going to be in a very happy relationship, because it's not about being right. And one of the things that I've noticed just through my relationships and through my friends, and especially as I had went through my 20s, I really noticed that there's always a struggle between masculine and feminine. And I really think if we can understand the differences between masculine and feminine energy and embrace them and welcome them instead of rubbing heads against them, we're going to be much better off. So I'm going to give you a few examples. I'm not going to go into everything because there's too much information, but some of the main ones that I really feel are quite useful we're going to talk about. Okay. And I'm going to give you an example of one of the interventions that Tony did, kind of the reason and the quick outcome of why, of how this masculine feminine energy worked, from a live couple who were actually at the event who had some problems, and Tony was able to help him very, very quickly. He's very, very good. I highly can't say enough to recommend any of his products or events. Okay, so anyways, in relationships. So essentially, some of the biggest things to remember is that you're gonna find this really funny. So women like to talk a lot, right? And we women relate to each other and connect to people by telling stories and by expressing ourselves, and that's just the feminine nature. And there may be men who have more feminine energy around him, so they'll be the same thing. So remember, this is not necessarily gender. This is about the feminine or masculine energy that is the main presence in that person. And so a lot of times when a man and a woman are in a relationship together, the woman will go on and on. If you say, honey, how was your day? A woman will say, oh my God, so it was really great. I got to work and then someone complimented me on my outfit. And then I went to lunch with this girl and this other guy came and we met and we found out we had all these things in common. And then I worked on this project and then this happened and then this person called me and then he said this and I can't believe he said this. And then we did this and blah, blah, blah. Like, is any of this related to you? Whereas if you had asked a guy who had the same day, he'd probably say, oh, it was a good day. And that's it. Now, in both of these scenarios, if you had the guy on the receiving end of this meta report as such of the day, he might kind of get a little annoyed because masculine energy is about shortening things and narrowing it down because they just want to find solutions. Whereas the woman just wants to talk and tell about the story. Now, from the other end, so it might annoy the guy. But from the other end, if a woman asks a man, how's your day? And he's like, oh, it was fine. Oh, what happened? Oh, not much. Just regular work day. Then to her, you're not relating to her because she's asking because she wants details. Now, here's where I think this information is really going to help. If you are the man, then if you can understand that that's what a woman wants and give that to her, I promise there will be a lot more happiness going on. On the other hand, for the women, understand that a man doesn't want to tell you all that much, and it's not because he doesn't care. It's not because stuff didn't happen. It's just because they just don't do that. And so if you could find a balance where, as the woman, if you ask, and man, give an answer. Maybe it doesn't have to be as long and detailed, but for the women, accept that it doesn't necessarily have to be as long and detailed as your answer would be. And that's simply because he's masculine energy and not feminine energy. And that is just a difference in who we are as people and what makes us unique. So those kind of things, like, I think women tend to take those things personally as well. If they say, oh, my man won't open up to me and this and that. Well, it's not that he doesn't want to open up to you. It's that he's a man and they just don't do that. However, that doesn't get men off the hook. There needs to be a balance. So, when a woman really wants to know something, let her in a little bit, because to her, that means that you care and that you are actually inviting her into your world. And that's how she gets to know you and to love you and to trust you. And I know that might sound a little bit, of course we know that. But truthfully, I think, especially as relationships go on for a longer period of time, we forget that. And then you just get kind of ticked off with each other because someone is like, oh, here she goes again. But that's not what it's about. She's doing that because she loves you and she's relating to you, like in a relationship. And so that's something very simple, but something that I think is really, really important. And so when you can just respect that and try to find a nice balance, it will, and honor the fact that she's feminine and you're masculine, and that is what makes sparks fly. That is what makes energy between you two, and that's what's fabulous about it. So I want to give you the example of the masculine feminine energy intervention that Tony did. And this was based on the fact that for men, their work is a big part of their identity, and it's what makes them feel masculine, and they want to feel free. Whereas women want to feel a part of, and their life is a lot more about relationships versus work. And so in this example, it was a couple from Sweden, beautiful young couple, probably in their mid-30s. They have 2 kids. She was this high school teacher, and he was in IT somehow. And I'm going to give you the short version here. Essentially what happened was, he was I think it was the best salesperson in his country or in Europe, one or the other, for his industry. Either way, obviously he identified a lot with his career. He loved it. And when he talked about it, he was very, yes, I was the best salesman and I won these awards and so on and so forth. And you could see his masculine energy shoot up, and that it was very much a part of who he was. And what happened was, when his wife got pregnant, because he traveled a lot and sales is not as certain as, I guess, a regular job, like say in IT, where you're just getting a salary and it's not based on performance, he decided as well that would keep him home longer than traveling for sales, that he was going to stay at home, change jobs. And what happened was, once they started having kids, he lost a part of himself by actually giving up this because he loves his family. So what he thought was actually a sacrifice was actually the thing that hurt their family. Because what happened was, over time, he didn't feel like he was owning himself and free. He felt trapped in this job, and that affected their relationship. So then the wife ended up putting more focus into her work and trying to get love and significance from teenagers at school, which we all kind of laughed at, because that doesn't happen very often. So what ended up happening was, instead of meeting each other's needs, they went to outside places for it, where he was, I guess, more at work a little bit and working with the kids, and she would go to her school kids and her kids for love and significance, because the energy between them just wasn't the same. And that's because he lost his masculinity, and when he's not fully present for her, she doesn't connect. Because remember, women are about relating to each other, and we want a man who is present. And he wasn't present because he lost a part of himself by doing something which was actually for the family. So during the intervention, Tony figured all of this out, and by the end of it, now they're still at the seminar, so we don't know actually at this point in time what has happened. I'm sure he's probably going to end up changing jobs when he gets home. But what I think is really important here, the lesson in this, is that for women, it's really important for you to support your husband or your partner, or if you have a woman partner who's very masculine, support them in that position, because it's part of their identity and part of who they are, and it's part of what makes them feel like a man, especially when they can take care of you. Even if you grew up in a generation like I did, where you were taught to look after yourself, but it's not that you can't go out and support yourself financially, but you really want to encourage them and support them, even if it might be a little bit risky at times, or maybe they have a plan of action to get to where they're going while you're keeping things stable financially. So, and the other thing too is for men to recognize that you remember that, because that might end up happening to you. Even though out of the goodness of his heart for his family, this man gave up really the career of his dreams to something that was safer for his family, and it killed him inside. So perhaps you might be able to use this, maybe something similar happened to you or you see it in friends, but when a man really feels in his masculine and he's got the career side going and so on and so forth, then he's able to give more of himself, because he's more in alignment with who he is, so he can be there and present for his woman. And that is something that I think it hit home for a lot of people at that event. And so that is my tip for relationship day. There was so much more information. We told so many funny stories that happened, but there were some great interventions where we really just learned a lot of what's happened recently, particularly since the women movement, is that women have taken on more masculine roles. And it's not that women can't be superbly successful in their careers at all, but it's just that when it comes to the actual intimate relationship, you're still meant to bring that femininity, and sometimes women get lost. I know that happened to me for a while. You just get lost because you're so focused on career and success because you were driven that way. We grow up in a society where you're rewarded based on your success. So sometimes you get lost in the fact that you're still a woman, and women like to be taken care of and swept off our feet, and sometimes when a man tries to do that, a woman takes it the wrong way. But that's not what it's about. It's just a man trying to be masculine energy for a feminine energy. So that was definitely a lesson that I learned, and I know it hit home with a lot of people. So I think I had recommended this product before, and I have no affiliation to this. I'm just promoting it because it really impacted me and has helped me, and I know that these products will help you, especially if this is an area of your life where you might need a little help in. So it's the Ultimate Relationship Program Tony and Sage did together. It's a great, and there's 6 live interventions, and the interventions really are so, what's the word I'm looking for? They're just so magical. You really learn so much more from them because it's like taking theory and applying it. That's why I love the interventions, and that's why I wanted to tell you the story of the Swedish couple who, by the way, after the end of that intervention were back on track. I could tell you that much. They were very, very happy, which is lovely to see. So that's it for today. I will be back again for day 5. Have a wonderful day. Please share this throughout the social networks. Please give a comment, especially if you've had an experience that you were able to overcome, or maybe this helped you in some way, because we can never learn enough about people and the masculine, feminine, and the happier you are in your intimate relationships, the happier all your other relationships will be in all areas of your life, and that's what we're going for, right? So that's it. Have a great day. I look forward to talking to you probably tomorrow. Bye-bye.